Well, good afternoon. This is Blu Laker at Radio Tribune in Las Vegas, Nevada at 717 South 9th Street. Yes, right here in Las Vegas, the corner of Charleston and 9th. And today, there's been so much to talk about. One of the things I want to talk about is comedy testifying. And this is what a ruse this has been, okay? And what are they going to get from it? Here's the most important thing to me, that I believe that Comedy was a little concerned about his own personal welfare because he did collect money from the Russians, and that could be potentially criminal. And so I don't blame him for asking the energy if he's going to testify. Do I think he's got anything to hide? No. I don't think he has anything to hide because the only thing he didn't really have to hide, but he did. And that, of course, was the fact that he accepted money to speak at a couple of different engagements. And if that's illegal, I guess it is. But that was the reason he did that, I'm sure. But getting back to whether or not there was any interference with the election because of the Russians, we're not going to get anywhere with that. It's going to go away. Problem with that is this, that all of those senators and everybody else that was there who are on the U.S. payroll are getting paid. Yes. And if this is a 2-day proceeding, I'm guessing that it's about $120,000 a day in salaries for those people who are called as witnesses and or are part of the committee. Now, that kind of money is not something we should be spending unless there's something really there. And as far as we can tell, there is nothing there. We're just wasting time. We're wasting time that could be dedicated to real purposes. Something like, Medicare, for example. That's something that we need to get done. How about North Korea? That's something that we need to get done with as well. So why are we wasting our time? They're only in session. They're not in session year-round, as you know. They have plenty of vacations, they have plenty of perks, and they get paid handsomely. I think it's $120,000 a year as a senator or assembly person. That's pretty good compensation for the amount of time that they spend on the job, if you want to call it a job. And maybe that's the way I would look at it, as a job, income, security. Yes, because they have a lot of security on those positions. They don't have to worry about criminal affairs because they're immune to them. They created the laws, of course, but they made themselves immune to them. They created their own salary and give themselves raises when they want to. Now, tell me where in the private sector you get to do that. You work for somebody and you accept the wages that they pay you. Why is it different here? Why don't they represent the people, their constituents, like they're supposed to? Why? Special interest, lobbyists. And how much more do they get paid for the lobbyist and the special interest? Thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And is it under the control? Hey, Tony, this is Blu Laker here at Radio Tribune in Las Vegas, Nevada. Have you got a question for the audience today? Say that again.
Yeah, we're talking about workman's comp. Let's talk about workman's comp today.
All right, go right ahead.
I called your caseworker, Dion Parker, I think her name is.
Yes.
And she told me that she couldn't answer any questions because she doesn't have your permission for me to talk. And then I said, well, I'll tell you what. When he's here tomorrow, we'll call you again, and I'll put him on the phone, and then you can answer the questions that I'm asking you. Well, I wonder if he's his attorney. And I said, that's a very good point you're bringing up, his attorney. Why does he have to have an attorney for something that he is due in the way of workman's compensation payments due to his injury at work, his weekly reimbursement? Why does he have to have an attorney to get that? And she said, again, I refer you to his attorney. I said, really? years old and perhaps dying because of it. Who's going to pay for that? Well, I again just refer you to his attorney. You see what I want you to do, Lou, is tell this fucking attorney of yours, first of all.
You're on the air.
Oh, first of all, that he needs to be concerned about permanent injury settlements and getting a third of that. Okay. But not your monthly benefits you should be receiving right now. You shouldn't have to give up any of that because you have a right to that monthly benefit or weekly or bi-weekly, whatever it is. That's what the insurance is for. You get injured, they got to pay you while you're off work. Anything on top of that, which is a permanent injury type thing, I can understand the attorney going for 1/3 of that, but not your benefit that they have to pay you while you're off work. You see what I mean?
And what did she say about that?
You got to talk to this attorney.
Well, that is an issue because once the attorney contacts them, I'm not supposed to have any direct contact with workman's compensation. So I didn't, but I didn't really think about that. And of course, you can certainly call and reference it, which you did. So there's no big deal. But the point is that.
I got nowhere with those. It was wasting breath.
Well, the bottom line is that she's refusing. She's the one that made the decision to deny the claim. And of course, again, who is she to make a decision like that? I always thought that here in America, you're innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. That you shouldn't have to, especially when you have insurance, because what it does, it takes the benefits away from the employee, and some of these employees get distressed, they get disgusted with what's going on, and they just quit. So workman's compensation doesn't have to pay. But because it is now privatized and taken away from the federal government, or the government has given it up, now the privatization, they're very, 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 very strict on who they're going to pay, and they literally deny everybody from the get-go, making them fight for their money. But they're doing a disservice to the employer as well, because they're taking his money, and everybody else's that is covered by workman's compensation, and then they're not paying the benefits or doing things like this, which I think is discriminatory. Number one, why are you discriminating against someone that is, again, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty? And the doctor didn't say it wasn't there. She just said she couldn't concur or couldn't say unequivocally that it happened on the job. And as a result, this woman, Dion Parker, made her decision to disqualify the claim. And of course, there's a hearing.
But first of all, she's a workman's comp doctor, okay? And it's not her job to determine whether it was a workman's compensation accident or not. It's not her job to do that. Her job is to diagnose, yes, you got a hernia, and here's what has to be done. Why the fuck? She said, why, in the first place, did she have to say that I can't concur that it happened on the job?
Well, of course I did.
That's not her business. It's just like I said to that woman, Dion, I said, Dion, if you've been over at your desk and hurt your back, nobody saw it, you're still going to file a claim for workman's comp claim, aren't you? You have a right to, right? She wouldn't answer that question.
Well, of course, she's not going to do anything that's going to compromise her position, and her position is
I can be a witness. When you go to the hearing, I can be a witness. But
Yeah.
I talked to her, and that's all documented on my phone.
Well, I'm going to give the attorney a call later today. Actually, the attorney's not too far from me. I'll probably try and stop over and see her. She's around the corner, a block and a half away. And try to. Did she tell you anything about a new hearing date?
No.
All right. Well, I'll find out about that today. And we tape all these programs so you have an opportunity of listening to everything that we've discussed here. And that is another way, of course, that you can appear on the show by simply calling in and getting on the program that way. And when we have some topics that are hot enough for us to discuss, and I know there's a ton of them, then, you know, I'll have you be calling in and having your friends call in and let them join in the conversation, because we're not alone in this world, unfortunately. And the more of us that we have who are thinking in the same channels, the better off we are. And we certainly need to think about that in what's going on in the world today with North Korea, ISIS, and even the gangs. The gangs are almost as big a problem as ISIS itself. And there's over 588 gangs just in Las Vegas. 588 gangs in Las Vegas with over 25,000 members. That's a lot of people involved with gangs. And they prey on the young. The sad part about that is nothing is being done to address that. And what happens is, if they're able to induce a young person, child, as an example, into getting them to smoke crack or pot or whatever to get them hooked, they can ruin the child's life forever. And so, in saying that, I know that we're very lax on enforcing and trying to catch these people, but it becomes imperative when the lives of young children are placed in jeopardy. We need to figure out a better way to deal with that, just like we do with ISIS, just like we do with North Korea. So, but hey, Tony, thanks for calling in, and we'll get together a little later and go over these tapes and see what we can do. And thank you for the effort. I appreciate that very much. So this is Blu Laker, yes, known as Blu Laker in your circle, but Blu Laker is my name on the radio. So I'll talk to you later, pal.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, anyway, we're just talking with Tony Becker, and Tony Becker is, well, he used to be a general contractor here in Nevada, and with Becker Construction, built many homes, and he was also a captain on the fire department here in Clark County. I'm not sure exactly where, but at any rate, he's retired now, and he's still very active. He rides bike, motorcycle, and even though he's almost my age, well, no, I'm not telling you my age, so you're going to have to guess that. Point is that he's very much a Trump fan. He's very much a Christian and Catholic, as I am, and so we get along quite well together. And too bad we can't say that about our Muslim friends who just want to kill us. And that's what we have to address. You see, we have to look at the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin is they have committed themselves to killing the infidels. Well, the infidels in our particular case are the Christian community. The largest Christian community in the world is right here in the United States. And they would like to take the United States and turn it into a Muslim nation. And if you remember Obama stating that the United States was a Muslim nation, not a Christian nation. Well, I beg to differ with Mr. Obama. Well, I beg to differ a lot with Mr. Obama. That we saw what he did during the administration and 93 laws that he enacted against Christianity. 93 laws that he enacted against Christianity right here in America. And along with that, and during his tenure, there were some 40 attacks right here in the United States. 9/11 was one of those attacks, and of course there was 3,000 people lost there. You see, they have us over the barrel. We don't know where they're at, we don't know who they are, and we don't know what they're thinking. And as a result of that, we're fighting an invisible force. It's Allah against God for the control of this United States and America. Can we let that happen? We can't let it happen, but we are allowing it to take place anyway. And every day puts us in greater jeopardy. You think that because we have all those police officers, and you saw them in London and other places, where the police force comes in after the fact. That's all well and good, but it does very little except drive up the expense of the tragedies that have happened. And again, as I had mentioned to you earlier in the program, we talked about what's going on in Washington, D.C. when they're questioning Comley. And it doesn't matter really what Comley says. There's nothing going to happen because of it. They have no evidence that he ever committed confidential information to the Russians or that they interfered with the election here. And you know, it seems like it's funny when we do something and we have to obey the law, and somebody else does something and they don't. Oh, who am I speaking about in particular? You know, what about Hillary Clinton? This beast is appearing on television on almost a daily basis. And I'm wondering, why? Why is that? Are they trying to give her airtime? Isn't airtime expensive? I know if you do an ad during the Super Bowl or something, it's millions of dollars. And why are we allowing her to advertise on television? Is she opting for another position? Is she going to rerun, and this is just pre-advertising for her? Photo ops? Photo ops are done at the camera shop, and that's where they should stay. She wants to send out pictures. She's got the addresses of tens of thousands of people in her email account, and she can do that readily if she wants to. But she needs to stay off the major networks, because all she's doing is complicating the matters for this president's desire to make America great again. When we talk about making America great, it's not the job of one individual. I'm specifically talking about the president. It is the obligation of the people who live in this country, the United States of America, to do their share. We're asking NATO and other countries who haven't done their share to chip in so that we can make it successful. Is that too much to ask? Well, if it is, guess what? We're not going to play that game. And the president has made that very clear. And what we see that expanded into the inner circles and the inner workings of the United States, watch how that plays out, because those things are going to stop. You're not contributing, or what can I do to contribute? You can work to make America safe again. There's plenty of things that you can do. The jobs that you don't want to do, maybe you're going to have to do. And don't tell me that nobody's going to go out and pick the fruit or the vegetables. If they do, if they don't go out and pick, guess what? We'll hire somebody else to get the job done, or you won't eat. Make sense? I guess what we're saying is if you have faith in America, if you have faith in the American system, then you need to do your best in order to help, because your faith in America alone is not enough without works. If you have faith in America and no works, you are a dead person. Dead. You got no place to go. And that's the same thing with your religion. If you have faith in your religion and you practice it, do the work that's associated with it so that you can help produce America's strength again. That strength is not necessarily in the folks who are getting ready to pass on, but in the youth of America who need inspiration and guidance. You know, speaking for myself, I missed the opportunity of a good family home. Yes, I had a mother and I had a father, but there was a lot of circumstances. I was in the military school for 6 years. It was during the tenure years when I really wanted that family environment, and I didn't have it. So speaking from my own perspective, I know that other children, today's children, are experiencing the same thing. They're feeling unwanted, that they feel sad, that they don't have a direction. And when we took God out of school, we have allowed for more moral decay. Well, if you're interested in moral decay, I'm going to compare it to cancer, because cancer not only gives you moral decay, it gives you physical. And if you want to continue this cancer that's growing here in the country, continue along the same path, forget about God, become an atheist, go down the street, chant and rave, and be gay or whatever, you know, that's your choice. But if you have a choice between living and dying, the best thing to do is to choose living. And I don't say that in just today's world, but in the future. And if you don't believe that there's a heaven, well, that's your problem. But for me, I do. And I hope that I am worthy to be able to receive the benefits that have been promised to me in the promised land. And I do practice my faith. I'm an elector at the church. I speak just as I speak now. I speak the truth. I look for understanding. And there's, in last week's reading, I happened to thumb to page 100 in the Missalette. And I came across something that I thought was very interesting. Fact is that there was a symbol there that I had seen in there many, many times before, and never really put any significance to it. But this time I did. I studied it, and I said, well, wait a minute. And I turned the page a couple times and went back to it and looked at it, and I saw the numbers. I saw this cross. That's all it was a cross, like, you know, a T, except it was in the middle. It was a cross. And on the top of the cross was an egg for the alpha. And on the bottom was the U for the omega. And I thought, well, that's interesting, the alpha and omega, that's the start and the finish. Most of us know what that is. But also, in doing that, I also found that there was a 2, a 0, a 1, and a 7. And because I believe in math being the language of the universe, and I'm not going to go into the entire story today because it's taking too long. But the bottom line is that everything in this world is based on the binary system. Everything in this world is based on the binary system. That is having a base of 2. What's clear, very clear to us in today's world is we have the computer. And that computer is based on nothing more than zeros and ones. Zeros and ones, zeros and ones, zeros and ones. Having a base of 2, yet capable of doing the most difficult jobs that we can even imagine. And if that's the case, and this is where I got my start, frankly, was I had difficulty with the problem that I had, and it boiled down to just exactly that binary system. Now, maybe today, well, because it's too late, we're not going to be able to go into that, but what I can tell you, it was inspirational to me, and it's something that I've lived with for many years, and it really has the bearing with the binary and how it came about, and and the significance I found in the binary system. And by the way, this related to the symbol that I saw on page 100 of the Missalette, so that you can take a look at that yourself, judge for yourself. But again, the numbers were 2 on the left side of the cross, top. On the right side of the cross was 0. On the bottom left was the number 1. And on the right bottom was the number 7. And I thought about that, and well, I immediately recognized the 0 and 1 because that's a binary system. But I just couldn't place the 2 and the 7. And then, in looking at the entire picture, with the fact that the A was on the top of the alphabet and down below was the omega, I thought, okay, the beginning and the end, the binary system, but what's the 2 and the 7 there for? And so I finally came to the conclusion, after a little bit of thought, that that was 2017 or 2017. Now, what that meant to me, and I would like somebody to try to dispute that on me, is that we're the beginning and the end, which is the alpha and omega, and 2017 to me means that in this year, 2017, we will see the end of the omega. And what does the end mean? It means that the coming of Christ again, of course, but more importantly is that all of the other earthquakes and everything else, or nuclear or EMP or whatever it is that's going to destroy the world, has the ability to do just exactly that, to create the omega. So in concluding today's remarks, this is Blu Laker, this is Radio Tribune at 717 South 9th Street here in Las Vegas. And by the way, don't forget to look at the Las Vegas Tribune online. We have a weekly commentary that we put out. It's a magazine, and you'll find a lot of interesting things that you just won't find in a newspaper or even on television. So again, have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.